like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the
Good evening, Dolphins fans. Welcome to another episode of the best, most positive banking show on all the internet, the Fins Bandwagon. Good evening, Dolphin fans. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Bandwagon. Sorry for that. I grabbed the wrong banner as I was removing one. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Bandwagon. I'm your host, Evan Finstanza, and there's my host, my pops, Fish Tank Hank. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, as always.
So, yeah,
You know?
over the last few days, especially on the post-game show and everything, people had to come up with a nickname. You're Fish Tank, and the network came up with their nickname for me. I'm the George Costanza of the network, so I'm now Finstanza. So we'll go have some fun with that one. I got that feel. So no, thank you for everyone for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We have a lot of fun things to talk about tonight. Mainly, and Hank will be your opportunity to talk about it. Is that the last time you spoke, you guys were getting excited for a Miami Dolphins game against the Chargers, but lo and behold, the Miami Dolphins came out with an amazing victory. How did it feel? I've had the opportunity on the pregame show to talk about it, the postgame show. I had my little overreactions here and there. So talk about your experience and what Sunday was like for you, game one of the season that we're waiting months for.
You know, it was nice being right, okay? Because I get on that show with Bobby, and he does all his realistic this and realistic that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had probably the highest score, and they scored all right. Both teams scored. So, you know, I was pretty happy about the fact that we scored and we won. I wasn't happy that we had a missed field goal. I wasn't happy about our defense. I thought our defense was going to do a little more, to be honest with you. But Chargers are a high charging offense. They have a high output offense, and that's the way it is. If you don't keep up with them, they'll turn you out. And Miami said, okay, well, we're going to turn up the heat with some passing. And I loved it. Tua came out in that pass that was to Tyreek Hill was just spectacular. I mean, come on. I've never seen a pass that dead on as far as between a defender and the quarterback.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Yeah.
And the ball just dropping in there.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That was unbelievable.
Yeah. So you were someone who was actually I was surprised in how conservative you were with your points, because you didn't even think they were going to get score 30. I think you said it was going to be 28-21, 28-24.
27-24.
27-24. So it was not that far off considering it went to the next level. But if you take a look at how the game started, everything was hunky-dory. Lo and behold, we lose the toss, and we get the ball. And we get down the field. We get to the 5-yard line. And what was our experience during the first set of downs? Connor Williams and Tua can't get on the same page on more than one occasion with snapping the ball, and that's even under center, being a little over-aggressive. And on the 5-yard line, we give up the ball. And then they do a very sustained drive going down the field. After they fumbled the ball the first time, what was your sense? What was your feel with it between Tua and Connor? Even though things were going pretty well going downfield, what was your sense at that moment?
I was like, man, you know what? This guy wanted more money, and now look, he can't even hike the ball. Give me a break.
Yeah.
And it kind of ticked me off because, you know, it almost cost us a game.
Yeah. But you know what the most amazing part about it for me was in the end, actually, was that Tua, even if it may have been partly him, partly Connor, he went right up to Connor Williams and had a talk with him. They didn't walk away from each other angry. They handled it like men, and they moved on.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden we very quickly realized that the defense was ripe for the taking on the passing game. And actually, the main topic of the show tonight is that, and we're going to talk about it throughout the show, is that the O line is right now better than our D line, is greater than the D line. And remember, Chris Grier told you not to worry, and maybe he was kind of right. Like that, our O line wasn't as concerning as we need to be about it, and that between Butch Berry and Frank Smith and the players that they had on that roster, and we'll talk a little bit about the O line afterwards after we talk about the game, really is not something we need to worry about. But overall, then it was really a back and forth game, really like going tit for tat. And how did you feel about the action, how the speed, and like how the fact that it wasn't a slow paced game? Because a lot of the other games at 1:00 that you saw, the Cleveland game, the Baltimore game, a lot of these games were a little slow moving, and it was. I feel like this game, you didn't have time to go to you didn't even have time to go to the washroom. Like really, one of those games where if you would have been at the game, Hank, you weren't getting up out of your seat.
No, I wouldn't have been getting up out of my seat if I was at the game. There's no way I would have. Well, I am kind of old. I would have.
You're not old. You're still spring chicken. But I'm just saying,
I would have had to get out of my seat. Who am I kidding?
Yeah. So overall,
but that would be during halftime, of course.
Yeah.
But some of these new fancy stadiums, you just sit in like when I went to the Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Their stadium, you just order it from your seat.
Yeah.
And they just pass it down the aisle, and it works real good.
Yeah, you don't have to get up. Yeah, it's really amazing. No, what I think is really great. So throughout the game, I think that one thing that was really cool is I think that it was nice to see a little bit of the balanced attack. And that's what I really like to see. So if we talk about overall, let's talk about the offense and the overall game. And so for me, obviously, let's start with Uno. Let's just start with Uno. Let's get it out of the way. Offensive Player of the Week. I don't think you and I think are the last two that were surprised by this, but to not see this guy play quarterback in an NFL game for 9 months. And yes, he threw a bad interception with Braxton Berrios. He may have thrown a few times into triple coverage, but when he needed to get a ball, whether it was a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Durham Smythe, Easy E, River Craycraft, it didn't matter who it was. Alec Ingold, like how amazing was it to see him spreading the ball around and fitting into these windows to where only these players can catch it? How amazing was it? The fact that you and I have been on that bandwagon for so long, that to see him do that against to revenge after what happened last year. What was it like for you?
Well, and that's another point I'll make. I said he would have to throw between 300 and 400 something yards.
You were undercutting him.
Yeah, I still undercut him, and I said 300 to 400 yards if he was going to beat them, and he got 466. So we needed him to get those yards for us to win. Yeah. Unfortunately, because of the fumble. If we didn't have the fumble, he wouldn't have needed that many yards, not 466. But you got to remember, he made 80 yards going one way. So you had 80 yards, you just took and basically threw away.
And what was actually amazing for me is his ability to stay within the pocket. So you were talking about, I think it was the greatest throw he's ever thrown, stepping into the pocket, throwing the ball on his back foot and shooting it down. Nick Hicks is actually his trainer, showed a picture of him throwing that exact throw during one of his personal training practices. The fact that he was ready to step into the pocket, no fear. The fact that he stepped out of the pocket on 3rd and 15 and threw the ball to Braxton Berrios along the sidelines. The fact that he threw on a dot. I don't know about you, when he let go of that ball for the game-winning touchdown with Tyreek Hill in that corner, he had no other choice but to put it where he put it, and how he put it there was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That's one of the best throws I think I've ever seen a quarterback get by a defender, because it literally, there was no room. No. Inches. There were no inches where it could have been, because it wouldn't have made it through.
No.
I thought it was amazing. Yeah. I've never seen nothing like that.
Yeah. And we talked about this on the post-game show, so I want to get your opinion on this because Steve had an opinion, I had an opinion. So at the beginning, they were trying the running game, and at one point, I think of what was the way that Kellen Moore and the Chargers offense was handling the run game, and they were able to get sustained drives. Basically, Mike McDaniel abandoned the run game again. It's exactly what he's done many times before. Do you think he did that because he's just a prisoner of the passing game and it was working? Or do you feel like he was doing it in order to basically keep up with the attack of the Chargers that were taking sustained drives, and he just wanted to keep on putting points up at the board as fast and as quickly as possible? What did you think watching the game?
I think that he needed to do that. I think that he needed to do that. Unfortunately, he knew it was going to be a shootout, and he was prepared for it. And also, Tua also did a lot of short to intermediate passes too. A lot of short to intermediate. So those are almost like handoffs. Some of them, So. I don't necessarily go because they use our running backs different. Also, they use them, to catch passes out of the backfield. They do things like that. I mean, they have Easy E running back there, getting the ball. So it's not always reflective of what the running backs actually did on the field, which is they did fine. They were used. They just knew that they weren't going to use them to sustain this game.
Yeah.
They knew that it wasn't going to be one of those ones where they jump ahead 50 points and just hang out,
Yeah. What we all knew the day that we got Tyreek Hill, that was a game changer for this franchise.
Yeah.
This guy wanted to get 2,000 yards. Can he surprise us any more than he does? Have you ever seen a guy every video they showed this week? He's constantly in motion. He was lined up as a tight end. He was lined up as a running back. He was lined up on either side of the ball, back and forth. And then he'd be 5 yards away from the next guy. They weren't shadowing him, and within a couple of seconds, he had burnt the guy. It wasn't even fair. Rick Dyson actually said it really, really well on his show. It's like playing Madden and you have a joystick in your hand and you have a cheat code and his name is Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Watching him do that, how proud, how amazing is that? To have a guy like that on their team. And you look back on last Thursday night where Patrick Mahomes had no one to throw to, and how Tyreek Hill and Tua, the chemistry that those two have.
No, he had plenty of people to throw to. They just wouldn't catch it.
Exactly. But look at the chemistry. Remember the chemistry that Tyreek says he has with Tua? It's incredible.
Yeah.
Did it surprise you? Did it surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, these two, they worked hard. And you look at the Cheetah's physical stature just as it is. He might not be the tallest dude, but this guy is physical in every way. I mean, he is built like a rock.
Yeah.
And he takes it down the field. Every time that he's needed, he makes it happen. And you know what? There are passes he gets under for Tua. But you know what? Tua's also putting them where the defender can't get him, but where Tyreek can still get the ball. Yeah. So it's a combination with these two. They are currently the best quarterback wide receiver duo in the NFL.
By a much mile.
Yeah.
No doubt.
They are hands down the best quarterback wide receiver tandem, in my opinion.
And if you look at it, Jalen Waddle, who would probably be a number one wide receiver on 20-something teams in the NFL, the guy had a simple game of 78 yards. But if you saw what the secondary speed, the way he was able to move, there's going to be a game, maybe even a game against the Patriots, where they're going to probably shadow and really double team Tyreek Hill, and it's going to open things up for Waddle. Waddle does that for Hill. Hill does it for Waddle. But even Waddle, you're worried about his oblique. The guy was flying when he caught the ball. I remember on the first drive, you saw how quickly he was moving. It was incredible to watch.
Hey, the top 4 fastest runs for a touchdown. 2 were the cheetah. 1 was a running back. I think it was the guy for the Packers.
Aaron Jones.
That's what it was. And then it was Waddle. So it was Cheetah 1, Cheetah 2, and then Jones, and then Waddle.
Yeah.
So we had 3 out of the 4.
Yeah.
So amazing. It was kind of, I saw that on Twitter. I was like, wow, I didn't know we were doing all that. But
yeah. And what are your thoughts on, he was one of my favorite signings. He made 3 beautiful catches. He made one of the most beautiful catches I felt of the game on 3rd and 15 to really keep that drive going. Braxton Berrios, like, he's exactly what we need as a third wide receiver, right? Like, what a pickup that was.
Yeah, I'm loving what he's been doing because he's he can do it all, and he's also doing the punt returns, kickoff return, he's doing that, and I think he's doing a great job. Fins up, everybody.
Yeah, fins up,
Ralphie.
But also, and then you have River Craycraft, who literally caught a touchdown, doesn't complain. He's been cut from 7 different franchises, and he still goes. And I think he's the perfect fit as a 5th or 6th. He gets in there. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns for us this year. It's great. The other weapon that I want to talk about, which is more the tight ends. We use the tight ends on Sunday more than I think we used them all last year. And Durham Smythe, when it was 4th and 7, talk about the cojones on our head coach. We'll talk about him. To go for it on 4th and 7, and your guy you're targeting is Durham Smythe. Like, Durham Smythe had 3 key receptions for us in tight windows. He had more yards receiving than Mike Gesicki did with the Patriots on Sunday. Like, the fact that they utilized him, and on 2 plays that Alec Ingold averaged 17 yards a reception. Between the 2 of those guys, they were huge on Sunday. They used them, and it was amazing to watch.
Hey, not that I calling myself out again or nothing, but
you're allowed. You're right most of the time.
I wasn't right about the tight end on which tight end would get all the touchdowns, but I was right that they were going to use the tight ends more in the red zone.
You were right.
The red zone.
You were right.
Okay, so I've been on a run.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because I'm pro Miami, and because I stay pro Miami.
Yeah, you do.
When Miami does well, my predictions do well.
You do. You're great. So, like I mentioned earlier, the main topic of the show was O-line greater than D-line. Chris Grier was right. Nothing to worry about here. And let's talk about the O-line, then we'll compare the D-line and the rest. And then what Fangio said. So, talk about the O-line. Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, Connor Williams, not talking about the snapping, Isaiah Wynn, and Kendall Lamb. Now let's start off with the tackles. Austin Jackson was responsible for Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa was put on his keister over and over and over again. How impressed were you with Austin Jackson? How impressed were you with Austin Jackson?
The fact that you're actually asking me that is amazing.
How amazing was Austin Jackson?
There you
go. Joey Bosa. How amazing was that?
You already keyed right into it. I mean,
year to year.
You not amazed?
Amazed. Incredible.
You gotta be amazed. Come on.
Honestly,
against Bosa.
Yeah, it's amazing. And honestly, he's a Cinderella story because in the sense that he never gave up. People were ripping him, putting him in the same category as Eichenberg. Give him a chance to develop. O-line is not easy to develop in the NFL. Honestly, no one has a phenomenal offensive line overnight. You have to give the guy a chance.
But you got to give it what it is, too, because that was one game, okay? You got to give it what it was.
No, but it was Joey Bosa.
But it was Joey Bosa, so that's why I'm impressed.
Then I'll get to Kendall Lamb last, but then Robert Hunt, angry, no penalties. Connor Williams, blocking, no penalties. Isaiah Wynn, blocking, no penalties. Actually, Connor Williams got a holding penalty mid-downway the field. He was actually the most penalized player on our team on offense. But then you talk about Kendall Lamb. we talk about how the fact that I said this last week, you and I talked about it last week, don't worry about the offensive line, but they're going to be fine. Kendall Lamb had all training camp to play with this offense. Has Butch Berry and Frank Smith. I don't know what Butch Berry's putting in the Kool-Aid, but they're listening to him. And Kendall Lamb had Khalil frickin' Mack. How many often did you hear Khalil frickin' Mack? And Tua had a clean jersey. The only time Tua was ever on his stomach was when he fumbled the ball between him and Connor Williams. The rest of the time, he was upright. He didn't get pressured hardly ever. Kendall Lamb was an 8-year guy who was an undrafted guy. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I loved it. Hey, I was sitting here cheering, going crazy over this game. And my friend Raj from Jamaica, he came over. Yeah. And we were hanging out watching the game, and he's a big soccer guy. Yeah. But, man, by the end of that game, because it was an electric game, it went back and forth. And he was like, man, that is a good game. And, just to see somebody that usually likes soccer enjoy the game also, you knew how good that whole game was overall. And our offense was like, I don't know, unbelievable. Our offensive line was incredible. Grier was right so far.
Grier was right. Tua is him. I know. It was amazing. And honestly, all it told me was, because even though Teron Armstead's been practicing this week, which is a great sign, I wouldn't rush him. Honestly, bring him back for the Denver game if you have to. But this week, Kendall Lamb can handle his business. The guy knows what he's doing. Even though he may never be 100% ideally, Teron Armstead is probably our second. No offense against Tua. In terms of an actual veteran who's proven himself, outside of Tyreek Hill, it's Teron Armstead because Jalen Ramsey's not on the field. Teron Armstead is massive for us going forward. And I don't want to rush him back if Kendall Lamb can handle his business for the next week or two.
Yeah, exactly. No rush. There's no hurry to bring him in like that. Yeah. If he's just going to, it's not worth it for what? Yeah. What are you going to accomplish if you bring him in? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm very impressed with Butch Berry and what he was able to do. So I'm going to go through a couple things. We had the 4th and 7. We had the play calling. The cajon, my favorite aspect, and I want to get your feedback on what you thought of Mike McDrip, is how there's the ball, it's 12 seconds left. They kicked the field goal. Then instead of basically they calls a timeout. Everyone wondered, why is Mike McDaniel calling a timeout? Is he ridiculous? Twitter was going nuts. Why are you calling a timeout? And then you say to yourself, then all of a sudden with 9 seconds left, a 20-something yard pass to Waddle out of bounds, 2 seconds left. Then he throws the ball downfield. J.C. Jackson's rusty as can be. Comes back, pushes Izukama. Get a field goal. That's the change of the game. What was your overall thoughts on the game that Mike McDaniel pulled? I think that was one of his most, because he also kept on throwing the ball down the middle of the field. Last year, he got killed going down the middle of the field, and I think he wanted to tell Brandon Staley, you're not taking anything away from me. I'm going to shove it down your throat down the middle of the field because my players are better than you. How impressed were you with Mike McDaniel in the first game of the season from an offensive perspective in his play calling?
Oh, I was like a greedy little kid on Christmas when he was opening up the toys. You know what I mean? I wanted my package. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he just kept presenting these great toys over and over and over again. Yeah. And it was just amazing. I mean, he came out. He showed what he came there for. Yeah. He wanted to improve those players and make them better. And you look at the offense, and if you don't think that it was better that first game, I mean, come on. Yeah. That was great. That was phenomenal. Yeah. I haven't seen that in many years. How's that? It's been a long, dry time since we've seen plays like that. Since Dan Marino, actually.
That was a Dan Marino type of game. That was a
Dan Marino opening day game for sure.
Exactly what it was.
No doubt. Yeah, definitely.
No defense, no running game, and him having to shoot the ball down the field. That's exactly what it was.
Exactly. And you knew it was going to be a shootout because of Herbert. So, exactly. I mean, Herbert's no slough either, but he's like Allen. He throws interceptions and gets rid of the ball in the wrong time. So
Actually, that's what I wanted to mention is that when we talk about the Chargers, they had an amazing running game, but Justin Herbert didn't win them. Like he did his team no favors that game. He did it. He had tree trunks to throw to. We had Oompa Loompas to throw to, and the Oompa Loompas outdid the tree trunks. That's the guy has every possible size wide. A 6'6" guy, another 6'5" guy, another 6'8" guy, and he still couldn't get them the ball.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
it was Mike McDaniel called a brilliant football game. Tua took it on himself. He didn't even believe he threw for 466. But what was the most amazing before we get to the defense was, didn't you feel like when you were watching it on TV that you might have been at a home game? Did you see when Hill was going on the benches, waving the towel, how much aqua and orange? How did it feel being a proud Miami Dolphins fan who's also lived on the West Coast to see how well we travel?
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, it looked like 50% were Dolphins fans.
Yeah.
You could hear them cheer. I mean, you could hear our fans cheering.
Yeah.
When it should have been the silent. You know what I mean? When it
Yeah.
should have been silent, you could hear our fans cheering away. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was exciting.
Amazing.
It was electric.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it
whole
was
thing
electric.
was. I mean, I just can't believe that we got to see that kind of a game come right out the start. I mean, and now we're going to see the Patriots. Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy right now.
It's very simple.
And,
Yeah, go ahead.
and my wife and I, we've been celebrating because we had Victory Monday, Victory Tuesday, Victory Wednesday, and today was Victory Thursday. So
And you still have Sunday night to enjoy it. What was very clear to me on the offensive side of the ball, if you want to beat the Miami Dolphins, you better put up 30. Because
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel could score, and this team, because even when Tua had an interception, that was the most amazing thing for me about Tua, is that even when he threw an interception, the next drive within 2 plays, right back in the mouth. He is able to forget what he did wrong and turn it on a dime. It's just absolutely incredible. And when people asked him during his press conference yesterday, what are your thoughts on not being, people are still questioning your ability to throw the long ball, do this. And it's funny because you think they're going to do that to any other quarterback? Tua goes, I don't give a fucking, I don't give a flying, excuse my line. He does not care. Salty Tua is there. He doesn't care. He's just, it's just amazing. Honestly, the offense for me couldn't have done anything more than they did to win that football game. And it's such joy. You and I had to suffer through games with Brian Flores and Adam Gase and Joe Philbin and Cam Cameron and Mr. Tony Sperano, God rest his soul, Mr. Field Goal, to be able to go down on 4th and 7. Remember we talked about this. We want Mike McDaniel, 4th and 5, 4th and 7 around the 50-yard line. Go for it. Do it. You have the skills to do it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, we're bandwagoners, and you and I, we like our players. We like X. We like Javon Holland. We love Christian Wilkins. We adore Zach Sealer. We love Jay Phillips. We like Bradley Chubb. We like these guys. But that defense, oh my Lord, how were you suffering through when Moses was parting the Red Sea on every single down with Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly? What were your initial reactions when you started seeing the running game basically kick the living daylights out of our defense?
There was another reality smack to the people that want to raise.
Yeah.
You didn't even stop the run.
No.
You guys didn't stop the. You
We
got
were
to
third
raise.
in the run last year, and
one half got a raise. The other half wants like this, Superman contract. And they didn't even stop the run.
Yeah, and I was surprised. I guess he's a man, so I guess he stands up for his team. But Vic Fangio said today that he didn't have his team ready to play. I think it's a different scheme. Balls never got behind them. Let's just put it to you that way. Balls did stay in front. The problem was the D-line and the linebackers could not stop a living coal. Like, I understand we didn't like Landon Roberts, but at least he was a thumper, because there was no middle linebacker there. They had to put Van Ginkel there. Long struggled. Wilkins couldn't get to it. And it's ironic. We talked about how hard it was for McDaniel to adjust against the Chargers last year. Vic Fangio, until the last drive of the game, never adjusted. And then all of a sudden, the only time there was a great play was Kader Kohu on almost safetying Justin Herbert. How amazing is Kader Kohu? Man, can that little kid tackle? He literally took Justin Herbert, picked him up, and body slammed him. It was incredible. And then you have then the key play of the game, Zach Sealer. On that last drive with Zach Sealer, and then finally Jay Phillips, and then Justin Bethel blitzing. When they finally blitz, because you remember Vic Fangio, and you've said it many times, he blitzes only when he has to blitz. I think he should have blitzed a little bit earlier to get them off their heels. But what did he do? He showed Justin Choke Herbert can't win in the big time because we left them wide open for a lot. We almost lost that game just because of another guy we'll talk about in a minute. But overall, are you willing to get, like, in the end, how nice was it to be able to say at the end of the game that the defense actually put the stamp on the game after how poor they were all game?
You know, that was nice that they came in at the right moment and used the pass rush to get after Herbert, because that's usually where he has problems, is when the game gets to its heightened moment and it gets big. That's sometimes where Herbert doesn't make the right decisions. And it happens to every quarterback. It happens. You know, you're in a hurry. You're just trying to think of everything. You got 1,000 things going on in your mind. Meanwhile, somebody talking in your ear about this play that's like mixed jumble of whatever for most people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I was pretty happy with how the defense did as far as the end of the game.
Yeah.
But man, we just got killed. Got killed.
When Deshaun Elliott and Javon Holland combined for 27 tackles.
You know, Bill Belichick right now is jumping up and down, going like this. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, but not when
these guys can't stop the run.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he has a problem. You see this 0? That's how many wins he has against number uno. Uno has Belichick's number. Okay, I'm not worried. But in terms of the defense,
better wake up.
Yeah, Javon Holland
better wake up and get the defense moving and stop messing
I think
around.
they're going to adjust. Fangio knows what he has to do. I think this was a wake-up call for him. He did what he had to do. But Javon Holland and Deshaun Elliott cannot get 27 tackles combined in a game. That is not going to work. But an X, I think, was just a little too aggressive. I think some of them were hinky calls. But, like, man, were they targeting him? Like, the refs, they wouldn't give him an inch. The moment he touched a player, pass interference or illegal contact, they really did not give him anything to move with. But no, I think the defense got through what they had to. And luckily, they have a cheat code on the other side, and the offense was able to balance it. Are you confident that they can turn this around in week 2?
It's not a cheat code. That's a cheetah code.
It's a cheetah code, yeah. That's true. But you have a cheetah code too. No, but do you think they can turn it around on Sunday Night Football? You think that Fangio realizes he's going to look at that tape, say where he screwed up, and get them ready for Sunday?
I really hope so, because I'll tell you right now, that's the type you know and I know that's the type of thing that Billy Cheat turns around and takes advantage of. So he better do something.
Yeah.
And if they go in with that same type of game plan, Bill Belichick will tear him up.
Yeah.
He will not just sit there. He'll be like, run it down their throat until they can stop it. Yeah. And I bet he's already telling his team that. Run it down their throat until they can stop it, because they didn't stop it against the Chargers. They're not going to stop it against us. Yeah. And that's the attitude he'll go in with. And then when you start stopping the run, then he'll dump it off to the tight ends, because that's what he loves to do.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about covering Mike Gesicki and covering Hunter Henry. I'm not that worried. I think our defenders can handle that. The one area of the game, and people are laughing because Bobby wants to know what this poor guy ever did to me, because without him, we wouldn't have won the game. But in the end, he was almost the reason why we lost the game. Good old JS, good old Mr. Kicker. How do you miss an extra point to go up 3? What are your thoughts on Jason Sanders? Because I don't give the guy a break, but are you giving him a break? Or when he missed that extra point, Thirsty almost lost his bananas because he knew who was about to go crazy, which was me. But when he missed that extra point, what were you thinking? Were we going to lose?
No, I didn't think we were going to lose, but I was worried that we didn't have the 3-point spread. You know, I was concerned that he didn't make the field goal. And I was like, man, of all the boneheaded things to miss, you know what I mean? Don't miss an extra point. For crying out loud, kickers. You got one job. You come on the field maybe 5 times in a freaking game. Do it right.
Yeah.
Do it right. That's a gimme. Every time, that's a gimme. If you're a professional, that is a gimme. You don't miss them. It's not like you're flipping a coin and hoping 50-50. No, that should be a
automatic
90-some-odd percentage at least.
I was looking for Orlando Mary's. I was looking for Orlando Mary's phone number. He never missed those. But no, but one thing I was going to say is that's why I wanted them to bring in competition to light a fire under his butt. But what I noticed throughout the game is that every time he took a kick, it started off towards the right, and as it kept going throughout the game, he kept on leaning more towards the right. At one point, he was going to miss, and he missed. And that's what he did. Like he never adjusted his foot to try to get the hold was perfect, and it is what it is. Let's just hope he doesn't make that mistake again, because I'm worried he might lose us a football game. And if we lose a football game because of a kicker, Mr. Overreaction Fins over here might have to have a little one-on-one chat with Mr. Sanders. This is getting to be a little too much for my heart can take. So right now we're 1-0. And let's talk a little bit before we talk about the upcoming Patriots game. I know you'll talk about it more on Fins Talk today, and I'm going to talk about it on the pregame show, and we'll just briefly get into it. But Monday night, 4 plays. You know what was amazing for me? I didn't get a chance to see the game live. I was watching it as I was going because I had to be somewhere.
I watched parts of it.
Yeah, but did you notice that? And we all talked about this on other shows. That Aaron Rodgers, when he was a Green Bay Packer, he had a phenomenal offensive line. And the benefit of him was the fact that he was able to stand in the pocket for an extremely long period of time and look and make plays and look at different reads. He was running around. He did not stay still on one snap on that first drive. And people criticized the Dolphins' offensive line. I remember a time when Bobby had said, let's go get a Dwayne Brown or go get a right tackle or go get a tackle of that stature to help protect Tua on the other side. He was the guy, 38 years old, protecting a 39-year-old quarterback on the left side who he'd hardly practiced throughout camp. You have Mekhi Becton on the other side. You have a combined total of about 765 pounds between the two of them. They were cut blocking, getting on their knees to try to miss, and they would miss the blocks. And Aaron Rodgers, literally, you could see him falling and basically tear his Achilles. You saw it pop. And you say to yourself, you criticize the Dolphins, but this team was all pizzazz because of one player, but you seem to have forgotten to protect your player. So you can have the greatest player in the world, but if you don't have the ability to protect them, forget it. And I said to myself, it's a very Jets thing to happen. And I do feel bad. I don't want anyone to get injured. But for the Miami Dolphins, you want to know what? You and I said we have a better O-line and we have a better overall team. I don't care if they have Aaron Rodgers. People said to us, oh, you should go get Aaron Rodgers. We were right. They were wrong. What do you think?
Yeah, we don't need Aaron Rodgers. And, well, I guess the Jets are going to find out how they do without him. A lot of fans.
The Cowboys coming up.
Yeah, they got the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
So have fun with that.
Micah
That's
Parsons.
one thing that I'm glad we have the Cowboys at home.
Yeah.
Thank God for that. At least we're not in their stadium this time because we're usually over in their stadium. Yeah. So I like the fact that we're home.
Maybe Leon Lett can play for them that night.
Boy.
Remember that?
There wouldn't be any snow to slide around in, though.
Well, good old Leon Lett. But no, like, honestly, and then you have Josh Allen. You and I, and you have been one of the biggest proponents of this. Josh Allen likes to do it. We all talked about it. Tries to do everything on his own. Stephon Diggs was not happy with him with the team. He was forcing balls into every window to try to get the ball to Stephon Diggs, making his own plays. He didn't have a running game. He tried to manufacture, and he ended up getting intercepted, Hank, by Jordan Whitehead. Jordan Whitehead has never had 3 interceptions in his career. He had 3 interceptions in that game alone, and that gave him $250,000 bonus in one game by getting 3 interceptions. So we have the Patriots who played decently against the Eagles in their first game because Belichick has his team ready to play, but they're not a perennial championship. I don't think they're a threat for the division. You have now the Jets without Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson. Whoever they go get will not be near what Aaron Rodgers can do. And you have Josh Allen who looked literally lost. He could not beat Zach Wilson and the New York Jets after losing Aaron Rodgers on the first drive. So the Miami Dolphins, they better take advantage of this opportunity this upcoming Sunday to get 2 games ahead of clear of everyone in the division. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I was sitting here reading some of these comments. I'm sorry. I was reading some of these comments, and they're talking about Vic Fangio and not expecting to see, blitzes. You'll be disappointed. I don't know about that because Vic Fangio makes plays for players' strengths, and he plays to those strengths. So, in my opinion, he might actually start blitzing a little more now that he knows just how effective it is with these players. I don't know. I'm not going to say he's going to be blitzing like we've been blitzing, but I think he's going to pick it up a little more after he saw those results. Yeah. And what was your question, Evan? I'm sorry.
No, so I'm just asking, how do you feel about the Miami Dolphins going against these AFC East teams after seeing each one of them play after week 1?
I love it. Because the Jets are basically done without Rodgers. They're relying on Zach Wilson. I don't think he can get it done.
Okay? He can't put up 30 points a game.
I'm just being honest. I don't think the kid can get it done. He hasn't shown anywhere that he could get it done. All right? Yeah. So that's the first thing with Zach Wilson. He was 14 for 21, 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That was an entire game, not a quarter. Okay? That was an entire game. That's all he did. So let me tell you, the Jets got lucky that Allen was so bad. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Because otherwise the Jets would have been just blown out.
He has over 8, I think in the last 4 or 5, I think it's like in his career, I think for the first couple of years of his career, I think he has like the most interceptions of any player ever. He has turnovers. I think he has like 80-something turnovers in like 5 or 6 years. It's insane.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. He's turned the ball over 4 times and 3 of them were interceptions.
Yeah.
He probably leads the league right now in interceptions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they kept calling Tua turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's why you have to have a spread out offense. Think about it. We threw to 7 different targets. He targets 1 or 2 players a game. That's it.
Well,
it doesn't work.
He's Mr. Pillsbury boy popping fresh because he's got plenty of turnovers. Okay.
Exactly. Beautifully said. Heading into this game, I asked the question, or I mentioned it earlier. Armstead play even if he thinks he's 100%. Sit him 1 more week, or play him if he thinks he's 100%.
If he's not 100%, sit him.
No, if he thinks he's 100%.
If he's 100%, start him.
Okay, you want him in. Okay. What about now 9 interceptions last 20 games? Yeah, it's crazy. It's unbelievable. 19 interceptions. Think about it. If this was Tua, they'd have him sent to the CFL.
Oh, forget about it.
Like, it's not fair. Like, life is it's unbelievable. Just because they like these big, tall quarterbacks. And I just want to give a perspective about Herbert. Let's do this stat right now before we talk quickly about the Patriots. Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. Those 3 quarterbacks combined for 482 yards of offense. All 3. How many did Uno do it on his own? And by the way, if Uno wouldn't have thrown the 215 yards to Tyreek, he'd still be the 6th highest passing by yards quarterback in the NFL after week 1. That just tells you how. And the guy who had the second most was Kirk Cousins, who lost. And then Mac Jones, who threw 52 times, he made 52 times and still lost. And then Justin Herbert had 23 passes that were caught for 20 something yards. Tua threw 28, so 5 more. And he threw for 245 more yards than Justin Herbert. It's like it's people don't realize like how ridiculous that sounds. Like, appreciate that in the moment. Appreciate it. Yeah, and also he's 0 for 5 in overtime. Yeah, the guy is not a winner. I don't care what anybody says. Josh Allen has proven nothing. I don't care if he got to the AFC Championship. He hasn't proven. He has not gone to a Super Bowl. He's had year after year of offensive talent and defense, and Von Miller and Tremaine Edmonds and
this guy and that guy. Every guy they've had the whole team ready.
Yeah,
they've had double tight ends. They've had wide receivers. They've had this. They've had that. You know what? I keep hearing about what they got, but they can't finish.
Yeah.
When it comes into the big games, they're not finishing.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're 0-5, you know, in overtime, that says something about how you play under pressure.
Yeah. Well, that's the point of Tua. Tua has played in big pressure games his entire life. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Now let's talk about the Patriots. The injury report for them, it seems that they have 2 guys on their O-line who have concussions. I think 4 or if not all 5 of their offensive linemen have a sense of an injury. Now one of their top defenders has an injury. The defense has 0 excuses because if they're going with a makeshift offensive line, they are either going in with guys who will be cutting off injury after week 1 or the backups. If they can't get to Mac Jones, if they can't get to the running game, because they face a superstar offensive line. The guy Corey, the guy Rashawn Slater, that's a great offensive line in LA. But the Patriots, if they have injuries across the board, you have no excuses. And I mean no excuses. Daniel, I talked about it a while ago, and we're talking about a missed extra point, not because he missed the extra point. It's a general concern about Jason Sanders as a whole, not just about the missed extra point. Because we had no faith in our defense at that point. But in terms of your thoughts about knowing that the Patriots have a lot of injuries on the offensive line, like this just leaves the Dolphins have 0 excuses. Like, I mean, what are your thoughts?
The defense should be able to show up on this game. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be the same game it was versus the Chargers. There's no way. It won't even be close. The talent difference.
Yeah. Do you think though that it's going to be a more conservative game on Mike McDaniel, or do you think that's not part of his forte?
I think he goes out with the mindset to win however it comes to him. And I'm talking like he might lean on the run game a lot during this game if he gets ahead. You know, is that being conservative or is that being smart? So depends on your opinion, I guess. Me, I think it's being smart if he runs the ball a lot on him. But if Vic Fangio doesn't fix that run defense,
but I don't think that. I think they're going to solve that because the offensive line is going to be there to protect Ramondo Stevenson and that group. I don't think they're going to have enough room to run because the offensive line is. I think Wilkins is going to eat and Zach Sealer is going to eat because they're going against a makeshift offensive line. Backups and players who have been injured, forget about it. They should,
and that's why I see them. It's going to be a completely different ball game too. Right. It's not going to be the same talent that we played against.
And the one thing I want to say before we head out in a few minutes and get your final thoughts and your excitement of the game is the best part about facing the Patriots is we're on prime time. It's all going to be about the Miami Dolphins. NBC and the Pro Football Talk guys are infatuated with the Miami Dolphins right now. They love Tua. They love Tyreek. They love this team. They love Mike McDaniel. And by the way, did you have a chance to go watch that 10-minute video that NFL did? I believe it was Jeff Darlington did with Vic, you should go watch it if you can. The whole story of Mike McDaniel. He leaves his house at 2:24 in the morning in Fort Lauderdale, gets to the office around 2:45 in the morning to prepare for practice, and it's just unbelievable. Talking about how he didn't have a job for 865 days. He has the thing written on a napkin, putting it against the wall. The story about this guy, when you look at him, the guy never could amount to anything. The story about him is only motivation for these players. Like, it's absolutely incredible, the backstory about this kid.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
Yeah. So overall, to be Sunday Night Football, how exciting is that to be there Sunday night under the bright lights, Tua, Miami, New England? I just want them to go in there and play a sound football game, but there is zero reason why they should even come close to losing this football game. It might be close at different points, but this should be the game has to be dictated by the Miami Dolphins on all three sides of the ball.
I agree.
Yeah.
Miami should definitely be making some waves against the New England Patriots with them having all these issues and everything else.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah. No. I think we couldn't be in a better place than we are after week one. Yes, we gave up 34 points, but our offense is humming. Our offense is clicking. Mike McDaniel is supremely confident. And honestly, if had it been the offense struggled and the defense was great, I would be a little more hesitant. But the fact that we know that our offense is high octane and it hasn't lost a step, and I think it's even gotten better. We want that. This is the NFL. We're here to have fun. We want excitement. We don't want to be out of our seat. We don't want to go to a 14-7 game. We want to go to a 36-point game. Not every week, because I don't think our hearts could take it. But honestly, after week one, it's all about the Miami Dolphins. Honestly, the 49ers, us, those were the stars of the week. You know what I mean? Like, we stood out there on top of the rest of the league, and Dallas as well. Like, honestly, Miami Dolphins right now are kings of the AFC right now, and they should just be riding high right now.
Yeah, you should be. If you're a Miami Dolphins fan and you're still complaining about this piddly stuff, give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break. You're not going to get much better. Yes, we need our defense to come alive. They're going to turn it around. I believe they will, especially against the beat up New England Patriots. And I'll have to take an extra nap or two, son, because it starts at 8:20 on Sunday.
Oh, I will be. I plan on, okay, to everyone, myself, Alex Brown, I'll use a different language, Shana Tova, Happy New Year. It's the Jewish New Year of Rosh Hashanah. It's beautiful because I get to relax throughout the weekend, celebrate the holiday my own way, then get to relax on Sunday, watch football all day, relax, do the pregame show, watch football, relax, take a little nap, watch Sunday Night Football, because I have to have energy. Because when the Dolphins win that football game and it ends around 11 o'clock, there's a post-game show. So I have to be ready for the post-game show. So I better get my Z's. And that's how you get through these holidays. You sleep a lot. You take it easy. So anyways, I feel I get to be an old man for the weekend. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. People can't make me go out. I get to take it easy. It's phenomenal.
Oh, it's so nice and heartwarming to see you following in my footsteps.
Oh,
son.
yeah, I'm proud of you, buddy. I'm proud of you. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. It's been a great show. It's always a pleasure to be with all of you. Don't forget, following this show, No Holds Bar. Alex can't join tonight, but Alfred will be hosting. I believe Ryan Taylor, one of their buddies, is going to be joining them as well. I might be on there for a little bit as well. Then tomorrow, we have an empty night because Fubar is off for the week. And then on Saturday, you get to see beautiful Hank rub it in Bobby's face about the fact that he was the Fins Bandwagoner. He gets to rub it in his face on Fins Talk Today. Then on Sunday, don't forget to check out the pregame show, Dolphins Chatter, on Dolphin Thirsty's website at 10 o'clock on his YouTube channel, because following that at 11 a.m., we have the pregame show with Bobby and myself and anyone else who wants to join. And then we get to take it easy. And then we have a beautiful game at 8:20 where the Dolphins are going to come out victorious. And following that, the post-game show, Miami Dolphins 2-0. I'll give my prediction of the score on Sunday, but I can tell you they will be 2-0. So, guys, don't forget, like and subscribe. Any final words, Hank?
No, just thanks everybody for coming out. I know a lot of people watch the game right now. So thank you for coming out and supporting us.
Yeah, they've been giving us the pay-by-play, and all I can hear is it's a very sloppy game. Let's just say you and I would be overreacting, not in a great way, if our teams were playing, if either one of our teams was playing the way these two playing teams are playing. Unbelievable. I heard it's very sloppy. Missed field goals, fumble recoveries. That would give me a little bit of a heart attack. Don't turn over the ball. Don't turn over the ball. Anyways, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as Hank and I and the rest of the universe like to tell you, fins
Fins up.